Hey everyone, Falcon Genie here. And what I'm about to tell you is very controversial because it involves yourself and how to get ahead of everyone and breaking conformity. I know I'm not going to believe after saying this, but it needs to be said. It has to be said, everyone. Breaking conformity. Stop being part of the herd, everyone. Anyways, let's get started. Anyways, what you want to do, everyone, is to break conformity. If you want to be ahead of everyone, break conformity. Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to. That just shows you're easily readable. And people, meaning the trolls, they can see that and they can pretty much exploit that. And they can pretty much exploit it. You know what happens when a weak man sees a bunch of mean comments? You know what happens to them? Butthurt City. That's what happens to these people. That's what basically happens, everyone. That's what basically happens, everybody. When a weak man sees, when a weak, easily butthurt man sees it, you know what it is? You know what it is, everyone? You know what it means, everybody? Butthurt City. To be ahead of everyone, if you want to be ahead of everyone, to be ahead of everyone, everybody, you need to go outside very often. That means both in the daytime and at night. That's how you get ahead of everyone. And you actually develop healthy coping mechanisms like drawing and music and coming up ideas that are breaking conformity. Let's make some music, everybody. That is how you make it, everyone. That is how you make it. You know what's so great about us one percenters, everyone? Society doesn't like people who break barriers and who think for themselves. They are afraid of people like us. Let them be scared of us. Let them be scared, because the more they fear us, the more I have power over them, over the sheep, over the peon sheep. Because I have power over them, and I have power over them because when you prioritize yourself, everybody, you become unreadable. You become untouchable. It creates uncertainty in their minds. I become hard to read as well as you. When you prioritize yourself, everyone, and don't fall for traps, you become hard to read. And that's why society fears people like us. And let them fear us. Because I enjoy making society scared of people like us. Because they deserve it. Because they deserve it. Why? Because society deserves it. Because their refusal to think for themselves. Be prepared to be scared, society, because people like us, we're not going to stop. Because, everyone, we're not going to stop. Now this is good. Now this is good, everyone. This is good. Because I become very hard to read, everyone. When it comes to finances, you know why the 1% have all the wealth? Because they spend all that money that they invested in tangible assets that give them more money, like real estate or gold. That is why the reason they kept that info out of public schools, and they made sure that the rest don't find about how money works and how it works. Anyways, that's why the 1%. That's why they're us 1%ers. That's why we're successful and they're not. Why society isn't. Anyways, let's make some music. And that is how you do it, everyone. That is how you do it. You know why the 1% get ahead of everyone? Because they don't waste time on things that aren't relevant to them. They don't waste money on things that don't matter and that don't benefit them. That is why the 99% will fail in achieving what they want. Because the 99%, all they care about is the next trend by the 1%. That's why us 1%ers, we don't care what society thinks. We don't care what norms are. We don't care. All we care about is doing things that makes us happy. All we care about is less BS, less BS, less BS. Less bullshit, everyone. Less bullshit. Because I have no tolerance for it. That's why I have no tolerance for bullshit. I have no tolerance for it. The sooner you realize that, the better. The more you're intolerant of bullshit, everybody, the more untouchable you become. Guess what? The more intolerant of other people's bullshit, the more untouchable, the more unreadable you become. Don't waste your time on these so-called fandoms and all these so-called improvements of what society thinks. Because at the end, you are your boss. You're an individual. Don't let society tell you otherwise. Break conformity, break groupthink. Otherwise, society's going to eat you up. And next thing you know, you have no control over what you do. And that's pretty much all I have to say, everyone. Anyways, if you like this video, like, comment, share. And I always say subscribe, everybody. But hey, anyways, fight this degenerate system. As always, everybody, fight this degenerate system.